opportunity presented to me once again to introduce Dr. Siddharth Gaur, motivational speaker from Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Dr. Siddharth Kishore Gaur is a qualified marketing and sales professional with over 10 years of experience of working in some of the topmost IT companies in the world in various roles across marketing, sales, customer success. He has also been working in the area of personal growth and human development for past 4 years. His mission is to create 1 million public speakers globally by 2030. He strongly believes that public speaking is not a sprint, it is a marathon. In order to be a world-class speaker, you have to be ready to explore the world and to share your experience and perceptions with others at the same time. He is passionate about empowering his students through his public speaking and sales training programs and transformational seminars aimed at shattering the mental blocks and limiting beliefs that prevent his mentees to unleash their best via his personalized one-to-one and insightful group coaching programs. He strongly believes that public speaking gives you the platform to share valuable ideas, which according to him is the best way to give back to the society to ultimately make the world a better place to live in. Very, very warm welcome, Dr. Siddharth Kishore Gaur. Please go ahead with your.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj. Thank you, Dr. Prakash, for this wonderful opportunity. It's always a pleasure to see both of you. And it would be even more pleasure to see all the amazing 23 souls apart from us also on the screen. Can we have everybody on the camera? It feels like as if I'm talking to myself. Can I have Sampath? Can I have Sampath? Dr. Noah, your presentation was amazing. Good to see you. Can I have Kalyani, Dr. Kailash, Vikram? This is a family, right? Yes. No one is going to judge anybody. This is one big family who is here to learn, to grow together. So let us not judge each other. Come on the screen. Come on. Let us see each other. Vikram, Mangal, Pradeep, please pardon me if I don't call you doctor because I don't see the doctors written here. So if you're a doctor, it goes without saying that welcome to all of you. Rajendra, Santosh, Reshma, come on the screen. Come on the screen. All of you come on the screen. See, we have these magical fingers with us, right? And this index finger is even more magical. You have your laptop there. You have the mouse there. Just take this finger and just scroll down to the bottom left. You will see a button over there called Start Video. Only 2 to 3 calories will be burnt, not more than that. I think all of you can burn that many calories, right? Come on, all of you come on the camera. Swanand, Atul, Reshma, Sonali, come on the camera. Come on.
So all participants present here are requested to unmute your video call so that we can take a one group photo simultaneously.
Yes. Amazing idea, Dr. Sampath Deshmukh sir. Very nice idea too.
See, we are seeing such beautiful faces, handsome faces in front of us. Why are you hiding behind the camera? Come on. All of you come on.
Wakey,
come on.
Wakey.
Yes. I know it's been a lot of learning, immersive learning. We have been talking a lot
about sir, welcome.
Yes. Good.
Yeah, very good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Come on. We still have 50% of the people to come on screen. Thank you, Dr. Gaurav. Appreciate it. Who else? Who else is going to come on the camera? Thank you, Dr. Sailesh. All right. Who else? Professor Samir, Santosh, Atul, Sonali, Vidya. Come on the screen. Come on. All of you come on the screen. All right. So before we start, type it in one word. How has been the experience so far? One word. One word to describe your last 1.5 days of learning. Type it in the chat box. Spend those calories. Come on, we are waiting. Great. Dr. Manoj says great. What else? Insightful, Dr. Noah? Yes, absolutely. What else? Valuable. Absolutely. The who's who of the industry, academicians, some really, amazing research scholars, they're all here in this one place, thanks to Global Research Conference Forum, and sharing knowledge wisdom, experience with each other. So absolutely, very, very insightful, very informative. Kalyani says, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Very knowledgeable. So before we start, and I don't want you to go off the cameras because I want to see all of you doing an activity with me, okay? A very simple activity. What do you see in my hand? What is this? Can you see this? What is in my hand? What is in my hand? What is in my hand? What is in my hand?
It is a
Type it in
cup
the
of
chat box.
tea.
It's a mug.
Yeah.
Cup of tea.
Yeah, it's
Or
a cup of
coffee.
tea, but unfortunately there is no tea inside. See, there's
It is
no
a
tea.
vacuum. There is a air.
Yes, there is air. That's right. Sampath, that's absolutely right. There is air. But you know what we are going to do? All of you come on the camera. If you don't have a cup, it's okay. You will imagine there is a virtual cup in your hand. All of you. Okay. All of you imagine that there's a virtual cup. All of you hold a virtual cup with me. Virtual cup. All of you. Okay. Now close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Yeah. Now just focus and think of all the things, starting with all your negative emotions, your anxieties, your frustrations, God forbid if you have jealousies, stresses, tensions, transfer it from your mind into this empty cup, this empty virtual cup you're holding. Transfer it, pour it into this cup, pour it into this cup. Just let it come out of your mind, pour it. Okay. And now, all the positive things in your life, your finances, your good health, your family, joy, happiness, trust, all the knowledge that you have gained in the last 1.5 days, all of that too, just empty it into this cup. Okay, done? Everybody done? Everybody done? Now, turn the cup, the mug upside down and pour it all out. Just let it go. Just let it go. Pour it all out. Completely empty it. Now your mind is empty and clear to learn what we are here to talk about. All right? You can open your eyes now. Open your eyes now. Superb. So, a very warm welcome to all of you. Today, the best thing about all you amazing 26 people here is you could have done anything on Sunday. You could have gone out with friends, family, watched Aranyak or The Witcher season 2 on Netflix, browsed on your memes, without any aim, aimlessly just browse what is happening in your friend's life, chit-chatted with your, near and dear ones, or probably just taken a nap. But instead, you all decided to be here. And the first step towards success is always to show up. So I want each one of you to pat yourselves on your back. That you are here, that's the first step towards success, right? So welcome aboard. And today I'm going to talk about a very interesting topic. And let me share my screen with you. Let me share my screen with you and let me just check if it is projecting properly. Just give me a second. All right. Just give me a second.
Recording in progress.
Okay, here we go. So let me share my screen with my sound as well. And let me do this full screen. And give me a second. All right. Is everybody able to see my screen? Everybody give me a thumbs up if you're able to see my screen. Yeah? Superb, superb. So firstly, I would like to acknowledge GRCF for this prestigious opportunity, for having me as a guest speaker in this international conference on material, energy, and environment for sustainable development. We all know that times are very tough. COVID cases are once again on the rise. Many of us are stressed out because of our work, because of our relationships, our finances, our health, the four most important things which everybody bothers about, everybody cares about. So in these tough times, how does one develop mental toughness is what I want to talk to all of you about. Okay. So with that, I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story. They call me the charismatic storyteller, so I want to tell you a story. Okay. This is Billy. Billy is a very, very happy wild goat. Billy loves to jump around. Billy loves to roam around in green pastures with his family. Billy has an amazing life until one day something bad happens. While jumping over a big rock, Billy unfortunately slips and breaks his leg. Now the injured Billy can no longer jump around. His mobility is restricted. And then something even more tragic happens when Billy is attacked by Komodo dragons. And finally, Billy dies. I know it's a very painful story, but this is the reality, which I wanted to share with all of you today, which most of the people, including us, ignore. There is a law which is governed by nature that if we are weak, we will not survive. And that is the reality of life right now. Nature punishes the weak. Not just Billy. Take any animal, even the biggest animal. What is the biggest animal that you can think of? Type it in the chat box. Biggest animal that you can think of. Type it in the chat box. Type it in the chat box. What is the biggest animal you can think of? Animal, huh? Elephant. Yes, Dr. Krishna, you're right. Elephant. Yes. Giraffe. Yes. Correct. Dr. Sailesh. Elephant. Right, Usha? Elephant. Yes. Whale, biggest mammal, but biggest animal. So you're right too, Dr. Gaurav. But any which ways, my point is, if it's a whale, if it's an elephant, or if it's a giraffe, if it is injured, if it loses its mobility, it is easily eaten by the lions or the pack of hyenas. If it's a land animal, if it's a whale, then probably by sharks. But that's the reality of life, right? That's the reality of life. So there is an important law of nature that nature punishes the weak and rewards the tough beings. There is no room for weak creatures, both physically and mentally in the nature. There is no room. Do you think we humans are completely exceptional? Do you think so? Do you think so? Do you think that we humans are an exception to this rule of nature? Yes or no? Yes or no? Type it in the chat box. Type it in the chat box. No? Priya Malini says no. No. Reshma, no. Dr. N. Krishna, no. Dr. Sailesh, no. All of you, please share your valuable thoughts and insights with us, right? There are no negative markings and this is not KBC. So you don't need to take pressure. Just feel free to interact, right? All of you are right. We are not. The only advantage we as human beings have is that we can talk to people. We can communicate our emotions and feelings. And we have very good medical facilities now. I think personally, we are in the best times of our lives, the safest spaces right now. Maybe, we are the luckiest generation ever because our ancestors, hundreds and thousands of years ago, they had to fight for their life for survival, for their day-to-day survival. Today, we have become very comfortable and leading amazing lives with all the facilities. We have the best education system, technologies, healthcare systems. What more do we need? And we still crib and we still complain. Now, see this article. See this article. There's a big problem. You know what the big problem is? There are so many people today committing suicide. What is the reason? I want you to look at these statistics right now. These are the numbers from one of the newspapers. It states that one student commits suicide every 55 minutes in India. Before we go deep into the solution, we need to understand how severe this problem is. And not all these deaths are caused by pandemic or accidents. These are the suicides because it is not that we are physically weak or we are hurt. It is because we are emotionally and mentally weak or hurt. Today, we have become weak mentally. Physically, we are strong as we have best of foods, supplements, nutrients, whatever we want at our fingertips. We have a shelter, unlike our ancestors who used to live in the caves. In the Stone Age, people used to hunt for their survival. But despite all these comforts, people are killing themselves now, harming themselves now. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? But before we learn why and how we can become mentally tough, despite the tough times, despite the corona lockdown, despite the economy, or whatever it is, how can we come out of this situation and flourish? Let us understand what happened to us and why we humans are the strongest and most agile species on the planet Earth. And in spite of that, why have we become so weak? Let me ask you all a question. Are we all born mentally tough or weak people? Type it in the chat box. If you are born mentally tough or weak, type yes. If you are not born mentally tough or weak, type no. Type it in the chat box. No. Dr. Sailesh says no. Reshma says no. Dr. N. Krishna says no. Priya Malini says no, we are made. Absolutely. Absolutely. It has happened gradually. You're all right. Now, I want all of you to type it in the chat box. Why do you think we have become mentally weak? As in, why we are not as tough as maybe our parents and grandparents used to be mentally? Why? What is the reason you think? Type it in the chat box. Type it in the chat box. Why? Why do you think this has happened? Why is one student committing suicide every 55 minutes? Why? Why is it happening? Type it in the chat box. Take a wild guess. Mentally weak because of overprotection. Dr. Sailesh, very good point. Very, very good point. What else? Environmental pressure. Yes, Priya Malini, that is true. That is true. What else? What else? Maybe they don't share emotions anymore. True. Many of us keep our emotions inside of us, locked inside our chest. And that causes a lot of anxiety, stress, and pressures. Yes. Displaced values. Situations make people tough. Absolutely. Absolutely. But before you judge me about what I'm going to say next, please hear me out. It has all started because of our parents. Okay? Please don't judge me. Our parents are the reasons for our amazing lives. Most of us have never faced any challenges with our daily meals, having a roof, getting admissions in top schools and colleges. We just had to follow orders or a system to get these comforts. All these comforts are the reason why we have become weak emotionally. Even in the smallest pressures like poor marks in the exams or high expectations of our bosses, we become like snowflake. We crumble under pressure, little pressure. This is horrible. Because of comfort, we have become mentally weaker. But the good news is there is a solution. People, like you all said, are not born mentally weak. It is because of the conditioning, the environment, like one of you rightly said. If you had tough parents who made you independent, then you would have become mentally tough today. So now my question is it possible to become mentally tough? Type it in the chat box. If you feel that, yes, it is possible to become mentally tough, type yes. If you feel, no, it's not possible to become mentally tough, type no. Yes or no? Yes or no? Dr. Noah says yes. Kalyani says yes. Yes. Reshma says yes. Yes. All of you are right. All of you are right. It is possible for all of us to become mentally tough. See, imagine you are going to a gym and I ask you today to lift 100 kgs while doing squats, not just normal lifting. While doing squats, lift 100 kgs. Will you be able to do it on the very first day of gym? Type in the chat box. Will you be able to do it? Yes, if you can do it, 100 kgs, 100 kgs. 100 kgs first day in gym while doing squats. You will be able to lift? Dr. Noah says no. Dr. N. Krishna says no, but gradually yes. Priya Malini says nope. Like a big no. Kalyani says no. Yes, absolutely. You cannot. If you're going to the gym for the first time, it is impossible for you to lift 100 kilos while doing squats. But what if I tell you to lift only 5 kgs and do the squats for 1 week? Second week, take 10 kgs, third week, 15 kgs, fourth week, 30 kgs, and eventually after a few weeks or months, if you want, would you be able to do the squats with 100 kgs now, gradually? Do you think that is possible? Do you think that is possible? Gradually over a period of time? Yeah. Happy day. Yes. Yes, Reshma. Yes. Yes. Atul says yes. Rajendra says yes. See, the point is, despite the fact that we are not born physically capable of lifting 100 kgs, but because of our consistent practice and effort, we are able to develop our muscles and we can withstand the pressure of 100 kgs. So if we are built weak physically, we can become strong physically. Now, if we can do it physically, then why can't we do it mentally? Yes or no? You don't have to be a scholar. Your gender does not matter. Nothing matters. Anybody who wants to become mentally tough can become mentally tough. It is in your hands. Just like your physical muscle, you can build your mental muscle. But the problem is that most people do not know how to build a mental muscle or toughness. Most people don't understand how to deal with that kind of situations, on how to build resilience. And this is where our education system fails. Because there's no chapter in the book called as mental toughness. Some of us were lucky to have great parents who taught us about mental toughness, but majority of our parents or schools did not teach us about mental toughness because they were not experts on this subject. So today we are going to learn 5 steps to become mentally tough. Are you all ready to learn these 5 steps to become mentally tough? Are you ready? Type yes if you're ready in the chat box. Type yes. Yes, Dr. Krishna, Dr. Manoj, yes, Atul, yes, Reshma, yes. Superb, superb. All right. First step, number 1, is consciousness. Can somebody tell me in the chat box, what is this diagram? I'm sure you have seen this diagram somewhere or the other, but can somebody take a guess if they don't know what is this diagram? What is this called as? Does somebody know? Type it in the chat box. What is this diagram? Any guesses? Any guesses? No guesses? Okay. I'll not burn your mental calories. I'll tell you. This is a Chinese diagram and it means yin and yang. Okay. It's called yin and yang. It is the reason why most of us, all of us people are suffering is because we have not increased our consciousness. We are living in the small cube, in a small world, like the frog in the well, in a small, fragile environment. We do not have the consciousness of yin and yang, things that make people mentally tough. Yin and yang is what? It is positive and negative, holy and evil, day and night. Yin and yang is when you have the consciousness that every bad time will be led by a good time. And of course, every good and pleasurable time will also be followed by a bad time. Now, most people, when they are in a very bad time, everything is going negative. They only focus on bad, 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 evil, 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 negative, 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 suffering, 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 scarcity, scarcity, scarcity. Their consciousness becomes so narrow, like a frog in the well, that they are not able to see beyond their current situation. The people who are mentally tough know that any problem that they are facing right now is not a permanent problem. And any situation that they are facing right now is not a permanent situation. This is the first consciousness that we need to have. Now, I did some further research into this, and I also understood that second part of your consciousness translates to spirituality. Now, I don't know how many of you are religious or spiritual here, but from whatever I have studied from these yogis and mystics, I have understood like Buddha or Osho or Sadhguru. I've been drilling deep into their studies. And you know what they say? They say that most people want to conquer the outside world without conquering their inner world, their inside world, which is this outstanding machine that we have, which is our mind. Most people are becoming weak, but they do not understand that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Do you see that many people inflict pain on us through their tough words or their actions? When we dislike someone, we do not even want to hear that person's name or see that person's face. the poison we are carrying only makes us feel bad. Who is suffering? Who is suffering? Type it in the chat box. Are those people suffering or are we suffering? Type it in the chat box. Type it in the chat box. Who is suffering? Reshma says we. Kalyani says we. Dr. Manoj says we. Atul says I. Yes. Yes. We are suffering. However, it is optional. We can choose to forget that person. That person does not even know that we are suffering. That person does not inflict the pain. We are choosing that suffering on ourselves. Just forgive that person, bless that person, whether it is our spouse, our former friend, our colleague, our boss, whoever it is, forgive that person. Number two is we are never given a problem that we cannot handle. Whether we believe in God, Allah, universe, or any other energy that you might be believing in, superpower that you might be believing in, there's a greater force that is running all of us. That force will never give us any problem that we cannot handle. It is only our perception which makes us think that we do not think that we can handle that problem. Any problem that life gives us, our parent gives us, our bosses give us, our better halves gives us, our jobs gives us, we can handle it. It is just that we do not realize that all we need to do is increase our capacity to handle that and separate our pain from our suffering. And number three, one of my colleagues, she is also an influencer, Somdatta Sarkar. She has written a very interesting thing in a book. She says that when life itself is temporary, how can problems be permanent? We are all here for a reason, and we are not here for eternity. It is just a passing stage. People avoid talking about death, but death is all there is. Eventually, all of us here are going to die. So why deny the fact? Therefore, when we know this is the reality, then why not embrace the life that we have and embrace the problems that we have and become bigger than the problems? We need to understand that this shall pass too. Remember, nothing happens to you, everything happens for you. This is step number one. So we have to increase our consciousness from our small thinking, from being a victim to a larger consciousness that nobody can give us pain. Nobody can hurt us. Even if they do, the pain will just be temporary. It will just be momentary. Number two, expand your context. When something bad happens to us, there's a part of our brain called as the limbic brain, our reptilian brain, which says, oh my God, danger, danger, danger. We start thinking about all the bad things. For example, the stats which I showed you, every 55 minutes, a student in India is committing suicide. What is happening? They think that their problem is the worst problem that anybody can have. Oh my God, do you know what problem I'm going through? I failed in the exam. I failed in the exam. How can I show my face to my parents? That boy or girl's context is so low that they think that it is the end of the world. The problem is we are not educating our kids. We are not educating our students today to become mentally strong. We are not educating the people to not have a small context. And that is not the end of the world. Put in the chat box, how do you think we can expand somebody's context? Put it in the chat box. How do you think we can expand somebody's context? Put it in the chat box. How can you stop thinking that it is the end of the world and start thinking of something else, which is bigger? Put it in the chat box. That is what I mean. How can you stop thinking that it is the end of the world and start thinking of something else, which is bigger? How to start training our mind that this is not the biggest problem, be it failing in our exam, losing our job, failing in our business, or having a separation with our better halves. It's not the biggest problem. How? The owner of CCD, I hope and pray for his soul, his departed soul. What happened to him? He had so much money, but still he ended his life. What happened to him? His context was very small, that he felt that it was the end of the world for him when his company started making losses. Now, of course, none of us want to commit suicide. We are all mature individuals, but we all have minor symptoms of that. Oh God, this is horrible, man. How disappointed I am. I'm so bad. I'm so terrible. My bosses do not like me. I lost the job. There is too much of pressure. There is so much of politics. All of this. All of this. What is happening is my betterment. Think of good moments in the past, Dr. Sailesh says. Be mindful of overloading. Absolutely. But there's a very simple way of doing it. Watch this image. Watch this image. There's a poor neighborhood in Mumbai, Dharavi, right next to the airport. For those of you who do not know Mumbai, the kids who have committed suicide have not seen the poor kids in this neighborhood. They do not even have a proper bed to sleep. They do not have a roof which can protect them from heavy rains of Mumbai. For them, having a burger or a pizza is like a luxury. The kids who commit suicide are given all the comforts, like a car to pick and drop them, best of facilities, food, clothes, toys, watch movies. And these kids think that it's the end of the world. Are you kidding me? What generations are we producing? The reason that we think that this is the end of the world is because our context is small. We do not need to think that this is the worst thing that is happening outside. So the next time we think poor me, poor me, poor me, picture these poor children in India and Africa. We will see how amazing our lives are. Remember these images. The shift will come in our mind. This is how we are building our mental muscle. And this does not happen overnight. Okay, this is no magic pill or silver bullet. It takes time, like your physical muscle. Our minds have been conditioned in such a way that it does not by default go here. It always goes into the victim mode. Let me expand your context even more. Look at these pictures. Observe this person. This person, he's in the civil pipeline, cleaning the dirt and the shit of humans. Whose dirt and waste is it? Whose dirt and waste is it? Type it in the chat box. Whose dirt and waste is it that this person is cleaning? Type it in the chat box. Whose is it? Whose is it? This man enters the pipe without any protection gear, without any mask. If you imagine the context of these people, I'm sure you'll agree with me that your problems are as good as an ant's nail. Look at this picture. Look at this picture. Some more pictures for your visualization and to expand your context. Absorb these pictures, embed these pictures in your mind. And hopefully it will make you believe that we are the luckiest people on this planet. Hopefully. Number 3, control your thoughts. Type it in the chat box. How many thoughts does a human being get on an average on a day-to-day basis? How many thoughts? Type it in the chat box. Type it in the chat box. How many thoughts does an average human being get? Thousands, yes. Priyamalini, thousands. Can somebody be a little bit more specific? Atul says mostly 1. Reshma says infinite. Okay, okay. Do not Google. Take a wild guess. Santosh, 10,000. Dr. N. Krishna, 20,000. Yes, yes. 15 to 20,000 thoughts an average human being gets every day, out of which 80 to 90% of these thoughts are negative. So who is controlling our life? Are we controlling our life, or is our mind controlling our life? Type it in the chat box. Who's controlling our life? Are we controlling our life, or is our mind controlling our life? Priyamalini says mind. Rajendra says mind. Yes, we should, but unfortunately we don't. Unfortunately, we don't. Our mind, our thoughts are controlling us. So once our consciousness is stretched, once we have the right context, the 2 points that I spoke about, the third step is to control our thoughts. Why? Because this is a cycle now which you can decide whether this becomes a vicious cycle or a virtuous cycle. Simple. Our thoughts leads to our feelings. Our feelings lead to the actions that we take. Our actions lead to the outcome, and our outcome leads to more feelings, and then the feeling leads back to the thoughts. So if our thoughts are negative, negative thoughts will lead to negative feelings, and this cycle will continue in that direction. So we must learn to control our thoughts to control our life, because we don't have any control about our feelings, but we can definitely control our thoughts. We need to change our thought process to positive thought process. Only then can we grow. Now you might be asking, how do we do this? Simple. As soon as you wake up every day, Start doing different rituals, like do affirmations, do visualizations, be grateful for what you have. If we do this every day, we'll start to gradually seeing the changes and build our mental muscle. If we do this consistently for 21 days, it becomes a habit. This will help change our thought process from negative to positive very easily. Remember, when you get a negative thought, just think about how many people are there dying in the world around us. Change the thought and tell yourself, reboot, reboot, reboot. Tell your mind no more negativity. Let us go back to positivity, because until we cannot produce positive thoughts, we cannot create anything positive. Let's move forward. Number 4, take risks. How many times our parents have told us to play it safe? Well, don't touch that, don't do this, don't do that. We grew up in a very safe environment where taking risk was bad. Now, when I tell risk, I'm right? But what about the mental risks that we have stopped taking? Our context expands when we take risks, because we are not operating from fear. We are operating from faith. We are operating from courage. Fear makes us weak. Courage makes us bigger than the risks. Our appetite and resilience grows bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, my simple question to you is, what type of risk should we take? Am I telling you that go on top of a cliff and jump off? Risk whether you'll land and you'll survive? No. We are not foolish people. I'm not talking about foolish or stupid risks. I'm talking about taking calculated risks. When we start taking risks, that is calculated risks, the capacity of our brain expands and we become more mentally tough. Take enough risk unless and until we do not grow broke or we die. The moment we stop taking calculated risks, we are as good as dead. As we stop growing, we are just waiting for the disaster to happen, which will eventually happen. Comfort makes us mentally weak. Calculated risk makes us mentally strong. Yes, absolutely, Priyamalini. Take the risk of coming out of your comfort zone. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that brings me to step number 5. Celebrate failure. No, I do not like the word failure, because either I'm winning or I'm learning, right? That's important to remember. This is the way you should start thinking about failures. That I do not like the word failure because either I'm winning or I'm learning. But a lot of people consider it as failure. If we think if we have failed, we should start celebrating it, because failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a part of success. So when you are faced with some tough and challenging times, we need to realize that we know that this is a signal, this is a downfall, this is a learning. We need to celebrate this. Unfortunately, in our culture, our education system, we are penalized for failures. We get bad grades, we get punishment. Just imagine for a moment an education system which says, hey, good job, man, you failed. At least you learned something. Next year, we'll try again and we'll win. We take the same principle of life very negatively. If someone somewhere had given up the 10,000 efforts of inventing the light bulb, would we have these lights in our lives? I would want all of you to remember this picture. Remember this picture. This is the mental image of the process of winning after so many failed attempts of hammering a nail and hurting yourself while doing so. This is a process. Do not think that the very first nail that you'll hit will be perfect. There'll be a lot of ouch moments. Eventually, with the passage of time, we will be able to nail it and we will be able to win. But how can we fail if we do not give up and we keep taking action? So these are the 5 steps. If you follow these 5 steps, you will be able to build a solid mental muscle. You will be able to build the mindset of a champion, and no tough times can impact us mentally. Can someone tell me who is this gentleman? Type it in the chat box. IIT level question I'm asking you. Huh? Very tough. Who is this gentleman? Come on. Type it in the chat box. IIT level question. Who is this gentleman? Dr. N. Krishna says Edison. And nobody else? Yes, Thomas A. Edison. Yes. Yes, absolutely. He's one of the greatest inventors of all times, Thomas Alva Edison. And I'm not going to tell you about the 10,000 time he failed and how he created the light bulb, the 10,001 time. No, that is a very cliched story. I'm going to tell you another incident in his life. In 1914, Thomas Edison had a factory in West Orange, New Jersey, which was completely destroyed because of a fire. His whole life's work was inside that lab. The damage was more than $2 million. 1914, $2 million US dollars. Imagine. But hardly any of this covered by insurance. Only around 1/4 of that amount, about $200,000 or $250,000, was covered in insurance, as this factory was built of concrete, and it was said that concrete could not catch fire. But what they failed to realize was whatever was inside the laboratory, the factory, was highly flammable and pretty expensive. And everything was being burnt on that night of December. Then what happened? Seeing the factory lit with fire, his son Charles, Thomas's son Charles, came to his father, and he was really upset, and he saw the fire lit up on the face of his father, but his father was very calm and composed. So Charles looked up at his father, and Thomas looked at his son, and he said in a very calm tone, "Son, where is your mother? Go get your mother and get all her friends also," because they would have never seen such a fire in their life, and will never get to see one in their future. Charles was shocked. He said that, what a casual attitude my father is having. But he got his mother and her friends. Next day, the whole family went to the site where everything was burned to ashes. Thomas Edison, he picked up the ashes of what was burned and told his wife, "Don't worry, dear. There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes have been burnt up now. We can start all over again. We should be thankful to God." I repeat, don't worry. There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burnt up now. We can start all over again. We should be thankful to God. And exactly 3 weeks later, Edison managed to deliver a brand new invention, which was the phonograph. 3 weeks later. Can you imagine the mental toughness of this man? Can you imagine the mental toughness of this man? So, a bonus for being mentally strong and building the mindset of a champion. Practice gratitude. Life is so simple. Life is so beautiful. If we consciously start practicing gratitude, we will by default become a happy person. Now, how do we practice gratitude? We just close our eyes and we visualize all the good things in our life. Right from the couch, the soft mattress, the pillow, the blanket that we have, to the floor on which every day when we get up, we put our feet, to the oxygen that we breathe, the heartbeat that we have, to everything that we can see, hear, smell, taste. Be thankful for our lovely family, everything that we have, our devices, our comfort, our money. If we become grateful towards life, life will become grateful or thankful towards us. Because everything that happens does not happen to us, it happens for us. When we celebrate our bad times, yin and yang, the good times will be even more merrier. So practice gratitude. So in a nutshell, the 6 steps to becoming mentally tough, once again, is expand your consciousness, expand your context, control your thoughts, take calculated risks, celebrate your failures, and practice gratitude. And if you do not take anything from here, if you missed anything, I want you to remember just one thing. Hard times create strong men. Strong men, and when I say men, I'm not gender biased, it means women as well. Men as in humanity. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. And weak men create hard times. Let us all be grateful that we have hard times, be grateful that we have tough times, because that leads us to become strong and create more good times for ourselves and others. So before I conclude, I would like to do a small exercise with all of you. For that, I want all of you to sit up straight. Sit up straight. Sit up straight. Let me see all of you on the camera. Sit up straight. Yes, sit up straight. Come on the camera. Come on the camera. Sit up straight. Back straight. Back straight. Right? Now take your palms and put them on your thighs, however you're comfortable. Okay? Those of you who are still not coming on the camera, please do as I say. And for the next 8 minutes, we are going to empower our mind. We are going to prime our mind by an 8-minute meditation exercise. Okay? So all of you now, please close your eyes. Close your eyes. Yes. And take a deep breath. Okay? And now just hear my voice and follow the instructions.
Let us begin. Make sure that you're sitting comfortably with your back straight and close your eyes. Take a deep breath through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. Repeat quietly in your mind, I am confident and I feel great. Keep breathing slowly and deeply and pull your breath right down into your belly. Now imagine a white light high above your head, and with every breath you take, it comes closer and closer and closer until it touches the top of your head. This light is pure source of energy streaming down from your higher mind. It's here to help you to recharge and fill you with positive self-confidence. Allow it to flow into you. You may feel a slight tingling as this pure energy gently flows into your head, giving you focus, and then down into your throat, helping you to express yourself with confidence. Now, this energy flows down into your chest, spreading a feeling of easy, loving confidence in your heart. The energy continues to flow down into your solar plexus, your power center, where it gathers into a ball of inner strength and personal power. With every breath you take, it grows bigger and brighter, filling every part of you with a natural, easy self-confidence. You are a magnificent human being. You deserve to be confident now. I want you to quietly repeat in your mind, I am strong, I am confident. I am strong, I am confident. I feel great. Now, I want you to go back in time and remember the one moment when you were feeling very strong, confident, and powerful. It could be the first time you were so well prepared that after seeing the question paper, you realized that you knew all the answers and were confident of getting a good score. Or the time when you cracked a very tough interview, you answered all the questions promptly and confidently and got a call or email from the HR about your selection among so many candidates. or the first time you asked your better half out and you got an instant yes, or the first time you went up on the stage or in the conference room and gave a power-packed presentation and got a standing ovation for the same. Remember the formal dress you were wearing? Yes, that very dress. Remember its color. Remember its texture. How comfortable and powerful you felt wearing the same. Remember your posture, your content, your stance. Everything was in harmony. Everything was just so perfect. Remember the vibrations of the clapping. Yes, you can hear them in your mind again now. And the positive energies of all the smiling faces around you. As you continue to breathe slowly and deeply, take note of how you're feeling now. I want you to straighten your spine, push back your shoulders, and slightly lift your chin. And now take note of how this small adjustment in your posture makes you feel more confident. Focus on this feeling and now repeat quietly in your mind after me. I am strong, I am powerful. I am strong, I am powerful. I am confident, I am talented. I am confident, I am talented. I am respected, I am loved. I am respected, I am loved. I feel great about myself. I deserve to be confident. I feel great about myself. I deserve to be confident. It is easy for me to feel confident. I'm in charge of my life. It is easy for me to feel confident. I'm in charge of my life. I can do anything today. Everything is easy. I can do anything today. Everything is easy. Now, it's time to bring yourself back. Begin by gently stretching your back and arms. Wiggle your toes and start listening to sounds around you more and more. You feel energized and confident and ready for anything. Now slowly open your eyes and enjoy a wonderful and confident version of you.
How is everybody feeling? How is everybody feeling? Type it in the chat box. How is everybody feeling? Dr. Sailesh, great. Who else? Who else? Very energetic. Sparkled. I love that word. Priyamalini. Confident, enlightened, Santosh says. Relaxed. Absolutely. Your mind is now primed. to become more strong and more receptive to learning what is to come up next. It's amazing, rejuvenated. Thank you so much. Really feels good to see all these words pop up on the screen. Fantastic. So with that, I want to wish each and every one of you once again a very, very happy new year. May this year bring a lot of peace, prosperity, good health, peace of mind, mental toughness for you and your families. And Dr. Manoj and Dr. Prakash, thank you so much once again for this prestigious opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Siddharth Gaur.